July 30th, 2026. Grant Park, Chicago. More than 100,000 people filled one of the biggest music festivals on Earth. Then, 5 men from the Philippines walked onto the alley on stage, and history changed. No major label backing them. No decades-long American radio presence. No Grammy campaign machine behind their name. And yet, here they were, about to become the first Filipino act in Lollapalooza's history. So, how does a group with no major Western label, no decades of American radio support, and no billion-dollar entertainment company behind them end up here? Not with luck. With a decision most people never even hear about, one made years earlier, far from any stage, when SB19 stopped being just a group signed to a company and became the company. That decision has a name, 1Z Entertainment. And here's the detail most fans still don't fully register. The president of that company isn't some industry veteran, pulling strings behind the scenes. It's Pablo. The leader, the songwriter, one of the 5 members standing on that stage. And the president of the company that owns SB19's future. That's not how this industry usually works. Most groups you know, especially the biggest ones, are products of massive entertainment conglomerates. Companies that train, produce, market, and own the direction of the artist for years before the public ever hears a single note. SB19 walked a different road. They became architects of their own career. The songwriting, the choreography, the branding, the business calls. That doesn't mean it was easy. Owning your own company means owning your own risk. No safety net of a conglomerate's marketing budget. No guaranteed international rollout. Every wrong bet is a bet they make on themselves, with their own money and their own name. But it also means every right bet, every single one, builds something nobody can take away from them. And on that Chicago stage, one of those bets paid off, in real time. Because SB19 didn't just perform their history. They made new history, live, in front of that crowd, debuting their brand new single, Lawless, for the very first time anywhere, released to streaming the same moment they played it. For a few minutes, that crowd wasn't just watching history. They were hearing it before the rest of the world. Backstage, member Josh described the moment simply. It was nerve-wracking right up until they hit the stage, and then, in his words, they were just having fun. Justin put it another way. This stage, he said, was too big to take for granted. That mindset, treat every milestone like it's not the finish line, is basically the whole story of how SB19 got here. Because Lollapalooza wasn't a lightning strike. It was the visible tip of years of unglamorous groundwork most people never saw, streaming numbers climbing quietly in the background, until, by January 2026, SB19 had crossed 1 billion total streams on Spotify, across every song they've touched. Nobody gifts you 1 billion streams. You earn them. One listener, one playlist, one recommendation, at a time. And it wasn't just streaming. In the months around Lollapalooza alone, SB19 stacked milestone on milestone, an appearance at the Grammy Museum, a ceremonial first pitch at a Major League Baseball game, recognition from the Philippine Department of Tourism as tourism ambassadors, with the government hosting a public watch party back home, so fans who couldn't fly to Chicago could still feel like they were there. A booking at Japan's Summer Sonic Festival, sharing a bill with the Strokes and David Byrne. Notice the pattern. None of these are one-off lucky breaks. They're the compounding result of a group that treated every appearance as a building block for the next one. Which brings us to the part of this story that isn't about SB19 at all. It's about the people waving those flags in Grant Park. Auten. That's the name of SB19's fanbase. And if you want to understand why a group without a major label could headline adjacent a festival like Lollapalooza, you have to understand what this fanbase does. They don't just stream songs. They organize projects. They translate interviews. They buy tickets. They fly across countries. They show up. On stage that day, the group turned to the crowd and said something simple: "We are all Auten here." In Filipino, Auten means ours. That's not a marketing slogan. It's the actual operating principle behind how this group grew an international audience, without the machinery a major label usually provides. Here's what makes this bigger than one band's success story. For decades, the path to a stage like Lollapalooza ran through a small number of gatekeepers, labels, promoters, distributors, who decided who got the spotlight and who didn't. Streaming platforms, direct fan engagement, and artists who own their own companies have started rewriting that math. SB19 didn't invent that shift, but they're one of the clearest examples yet of what it looks like when it actually works. A group that turned independence from a risk into a strategy and turned a devoted fanbase into a distribution network no label could have built for them. Was Lollapalooza the destination? Watch what came right after it and you already know the answer. Within days, SB19 were back on a plane to Japan for Summer Sonic. The Thanksgiving fan meets in the US and Japan are already on the calendar. For this group, every milestone has functioned as a launch pad, not a landing pad. So, picture that crowd again. 100,000 people in Grant Park, flags in the air, watching 5 men from the Philippines perform a song the world hadn't heard 60 seconds earlier. It's a striking image. But the real story isn't what happened on that stage. It's everything invisible that had to happen first. The company they built themselves, the streams that added up one at a time, the fans who decided this was theirs to carry. Because history isn't written in the moment everyone applauds. It's written in the years nobody notices. That's the part worth remembering. Not the fireworks moment everyone posted about. The years of decisions nobody was filming. If you enjoyed this deep dive, consider subscribing to Vintra PPOP for more stories like this. Thanks for watching.